whole name Piebald, where did that come from?
The name Piebald came from when we first bought the property. In the back by the woods was a beautiful white stag, and he had his brown antlers and his brown ears. It was almost like a mask over his eyes, and he had 3 brown spots on his chest, and oh, he was so beautiful. And I said, one day I'm going to name a wine after you.
Yes.
And so my first experiment with my very first white blend was Piebald White. Well, this was my very first white blend,
Yes.
which is a blend of Viognier, predominantly a little bit of Traminette, and then 10% Chardonnay. And maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like 10% Chardonnay just smooths out any white wine.
It does. Well, I would love to taste some of that. Tell me, where did you come up with 2 twisted posts?
Oh, I did a contest with fellow workers and friends and family to come up with the name, and a friend came up with Black Glass, and Black Glass is the name of an antique wine bottle.
Yes.
And so we really liked it, and we did a patent search on it, and unfortunately that name was taken by a California winery. But in the meantime, I bought a book that was an antique wine book, and flipping through the book, I come upon a picture of this antique wine bottle that was found in, dating back to 1715 from 2 Twisted Post Tavern in Colchester, England, which is where my mother was born and raised and where I was born. And I'm like, and the seal on the bottle, the seal has the tavern owner's name, Thomas Great. The seal on the bottle was found in Virginia. So somebody bought grain over in it. I'm assuming
Yes.
maybe wine, but I'm assuming grain.
Yes.
And I said, that's it. That's the name.
I love the nose on this.
Hmm. And I think a lot of the nose, even though it's a small percent of Traminette, Viognier has a nice nose, but Traminette has a lovely nose.
Yes.
And I think that's what gives it the extra fruit flavor, fruit aroma.
Right. Oh, it's really, really nice. Mm. Now, what are some of your favorite foods to have with this wine?
I like spicy food a lot with the wine. Also, maybe this isn't where you're going with the question. I think there's nothing like a movie and popcorn with a nice white wine.
I love that.
Butter popcorn. And cheeses.
Yes.
So particular cheeses. You wouldn't want a cheese that's too strong, say like a gorgonzola or something that would overpower it. You'd be better off with a mild medium cheese, cheddar, or
Havarti.
Havarti,
Yes.
exactly.
Sure. Well, and I can imagine this would hold up against something a little smoky like ham.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that would be perfect with ham.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about you and how you got here to the States.
I was 19 years old, and I had an opportunity to come to the States for a job. It was a 2-year job, and so I came for 2 years and I never left. I just totally fell in love with the country, the people. It's such a vast country. It has everything.
Yes.
There's nothing anywhere that you can't find here. Very open to pursuing anything people wanted to. There's no roadblocks. It's not, you can't pursue this. I thought I'd go home one day, and I'm still here. So that isn't going to happen now.
Yeah.
And I go home. I'd go a couple times a year when my parents were alive. And one time I'm walking down my hometown street, and someone taps me on the shoulder and says, "Where are you from in the United States?"
Oh, I love that.
So I'm like, oh, so the accent's gone, or whatever it's called. And I thought that was great fun. And I'm like, this is my hometown.
Well, you've planted yourself here, so to speak.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I have planted myself here.
Oh, goodness, this is amazing.
Cheers.
Cheers.